Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Racha HaKodash. Double honors to my other apostles, a great millstone, peace and salutation to the hopeful members of the elect, the Bacharim of the house of David that has been preordained, predestined to get delivered in these lasting times and to be the ruling, governing body of the nation of Yasha'Allah. I want to get into a lesson on the Israelites, which consists of Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and we have been scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. But in this case, particularly the Negroes, the southern kingdom, which consists of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, Judah being the African Americans today, which have been scattered as well, um, along with Benjamin, the West Indians, Jamaicans, people from Guyana, all right, St. Lucia, all right, a lot of them dwell in England, all around the world, all right, and Levi, the so-called Haitians, okay, they were ruling in Europe, which was called in the medieval times the Dark Ages, that time period, hence the word dark, the Dark Ages, because so-called black people were ruling during that time. All right, so this is Revelation. I'm gonna get into this. All right, I'm gonna get into this page that I'm on realhistorywww.com. Okay, but first, this is Revelation 20, verse 1. It's called Satan is Bound, and we know that Satan has a physical counterpart on the earth, just like the Most High has his physical counterpart, his children. All right, Satan are the Edomites on this earth. When it refers to Satan in this case, are the Edomites, which are the so-called self-proclaimed white people, Caucasians. All right. It says, and I saw an angel come down from heaven having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. Now, the a chain represents slavery. The bottomless pit represents Europe. All right, which was named after a dark melanated woman, Europa, which was a Japhite. Okay, but the chain represents slavery. The bottomless pit is Europe. Why is it referred to as the bottomless pit? Because Europe, a lot of its landmass, the region, all right, on that continent has very low fertile ground. All right, it lacks a lot of resource. Okay, it says, and he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. Right, because when the Roman Empire fell, and then that's when Jake started to rule during the Byzantine Empire. All right, you had something called the year of the the year of the five emperors, 197 A.D. Septimius Severus being the successor, which was an Israelite, and he was going against other Israelites, so-called black men. But 325, particularly Constantine, formed the Byzantine Empire. All right, which was another so-called black man, an Israelite. But Esau Edom was in the Caucasus Mountains in Europe. All right, low. The scriptures say in Job 30 how he was braying. Actually, let me get it. All right, let me get that real quick. Okay, because this will explain it. The nature of Esau, or the state he was in during, those times. All right, when we were ruling in the medieval times, Esau was in the Caucasus Mountains. All right, at a very low point. Job 30, verse 1. But now they that are younger than I have me in derision. That's Esau. All right, whose fathers would have disdained to have set with the dogs of my flock. Because they are younger than us. Because Israelites, we have always been first. All right, the sons of God. We have always been first. Yet we were the last families to be established upon the earth. Okay, but we were always first, as the sons of God before the flood. Okay. And it says, whose fathers would have disdained to have set with the dogs of my flock. Right. Esau is such a defiled person that we won't even let him near our dogs. Yea, whereto might the strength of their hands profit me, in whom old age was perished? For want and famine, they were solitary, fleeing into the wilderness and former time desolate and waste. Right. They fled up to the Caucasus Mountains, who cut up mallows by the bushes and juniper roots for their meat. That's how they were sustained because of the juniper root. All right. They were driven forth from among men. They cried after them as after a thief. They were driven among men. They were, again, dwelling in the Caucasus Mountains, okay? You see, it says to dwell in the cliffs of the valleys and caves of the earth and in the rocks, right? They were dwelling in the cliffs of the valleys, in the caves over there in the Caucasus Mountains, the true cavemen, all right? And you can see it in their habitations today. They like to dwell in high places. A lot of these apartment complexes, I mean, look like, caves, all right? Made out of concrete, out of rock, and it looks cave-like, all right, like a very high mountain. You know, it says, "Among the bushes they brayed, under the nettles they were gathered together." Right? They were braying that, making them cave noises, things like that. All right. They were children of fools, yea, children of base men. They were viler than the earth, and that's Esau today. This man will eat raw meat. All right, he has very low morale. All right, you can see it in America today. That's why it's likened to a valley. All right, but again, he was bound up 1,000 years. All right, when the Roman Empire fell, and then Jake started ruling during the Byzantine Empire. All right, that's when Esau was put in those caves in the Caucasus Mountains. Then after a period of time, he started to come back. The Lord started to raise him up gradually during the Renaissance period, the late during the Renaissance period, during the late mid 13 to the mid to the late 1300s. All right, and it started to excel during the 1600s. All right, 1600s, around that time period. All right, and it says, "And cast him into the bottomless pit." Verse back in Revelation 20, verse 3, "And cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more." Right? Till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled, and after that he must be loosed a little season. So he was bound up. All right, he came to a lower state as a caveman, so he wanted to deceive the nations no more. But then now he has been let loose to deceive all over again. And one of the ways that he deceives is through the images of you know um the medieval times. He makes it look like it was so-called white people ruling, when in actuality it was all Israelites. The knights, the kings, all right, the queens. That was all Jake. We created those castles, all right. The whole monarch system, okay. The things that Esau has taken, we created all those things. And you can see, all right, I'm going to read this. It says, "There are many portraits of common blacks still in existence in Europe. For those still not convinced of the degenerate, lying nature of the albinos, which they are cursed, they have no melanin. We offer their explanation for these native European blacks. They're Africans. We're not African. Africans are Hamites. We are the children of the Most High, sons of God, Israelites." All right, that's right. Whenever a portrait of a European black is encountered, the explanation is always, it's an African. For even the dimmest reader would know that human breeds and congregate in extended family groups, tribes, and larger groups. So upon seeing a few, the question would be, where are the rest? As we all know, the best way to hide something in plain sight is to call it something else. Thus, Russian General Ganibal is described as an African, right? This is him. Russian General Abram Petrovich from 1696 to 1781, all right? All right, General Ganibal. Okay. But what about Tsar Peter III? Is he an African too? This is him. Died on July 17, 1762. All right, looks like a light-skinned Jake. And the last czars of Russia were actually Israelites. They were speckled birds, you see. What about Duke Albert? Is he also an African? This is him. Come on, man. Okay. Albert von Hohenzollern. Albert of Prussia, the first Duke of the Duchy of Prussia, the 37th Grand Master of the Teutonic Knights. A lot of the knights were Israelites. All right, if not all. All right. Also, Elector Frederick III is also an African or an Israelite. I'm just gonna say Israelite. Oh, you can look at it. You look at this coin. Clearly an Israelite man of Saxony, the wise of Saxony. Roman Emperor Valerian was an Israelite. Valerian, Publius Licinius Valerianus Augustus from 193 to 260, also known as Valerian the Elder, was Roman emperor from 253 to 260. He was taken captive by Persian king Shapur I after the Battle of Edessa, becoming the only Roman emperor who was captured as a prisoner of war, resulting in wide-ranging instability across the empire. Okay, it says, were the above people Africans? Of course not, they're Israelites. Likewise, this lovely, finely dressed little boy was not also. Right, now look at this. All right, he has, as you can see, a bow and an arrow. All right, okay. It says a young archer by Goveret Flink Dutch circa 1640. A young soldier of the Holy Roman Empire during the 30 Years' War from 1618 to 1648. All right. Let me just read a little bit of this. Um, the lessons learned in the previously detailed degenerate habits of the albinos need to be learned well, for the material following will test their cognitive abilities. We have seen the albinos use the trick of declaring all blacks in Europe as recently expatriated expatriated Africans to explain their lingering vestiges. Okay. Uh, That's it. I might break this in parts because I like to go through a little bit more of this, you know. But just to show you that, it was Israel that were ruling. All right. You see, King James, all right, the first of England. Okay. You know, so-called black men as well. All right. Lord willing, I can go through this. I'll read this and go through it too. All right. But we're not African. No, we're Israelites. All right. So, Lord willing, this has been an edifying lesson. All right. Might make a part two. All right. Some more parts to go through it. So, stay tuned. All right. But with that, giving all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rachakodash. Double honors to my elder apostles, a great millstone, and peace and citation to the elect. Shalom.